Hello, good evening, everybody. Carolyn Williams here with Money Reverse. I am here to give you Stock Savvy Sessions Day 2. Thank you for joining. Come right on in. When you arrive, just say Day 2 in the comments. We are going to get started. We got a lot to go through. Some very good stuff here with Stock Savvy Sessions Day 2. Say hello in the comments when you arrive and put Day 2 in the comments. There's a couple of reasons that I do that. Number one, so I can just make sure that you're there. But the main thing is to make sure that you hear me. I don't want to start teaching and have an audio issue and not even know about it. So just say hello when you arrive and put Day 2 in the comments. We're getting ready to get started. Got a lot to go through. Now, if you were not here for Day 1 of Stock Savvy Sessions, this is Day 2 of 4. Hi, Christy. Thank you. This is Day 2 of 4. Day 1 is the replay is right here where you're watching me right now. If you want to go to Money Reverse University, I will give you a link to do that. The video is also loaded in Money Reverse University, where you got a single place where everything is. The lessons, the downloadables, the homework assignments, and the video. It's all in one place in Money Reverse University. Let's get started. I am going to share teaching with you. Let's do it. So what we're going to go through today is we're always going to have a biblical investing lesson. It's Day 2. We're going to continue in our oil dance, and we're going to talk about supply and demand today. Some interesting things that I want you to know. It's going to be more fact and information today. So it's going to be fact and information. And then we're going to talk about interesting and rewarding stocks. IRS, interesting and rewarding stock. This is the IRS that we love. Now, thank you for joining for this free class. I do want you to know that you can join the class. There is a fully baked digital class that I'm going to put the link right here for you to join. And with that, when you register for the class, I'm not going to ask you for anything. I am going to ask you for your name and your email address. And that's what's going to be your login to Money Reverse University. And when you do that, you will get access to all of the downloadable resources, to all of the homework assignments and everything that I mentioned. It's there in Money Reverse University. So what I have done is I have just posted that in the comments for you. So you can join that go and register for the course at any time. That's how you're going to get the full-blown experience. That's what makes the difference in having a webinar and having a class. This is a class. So let's get started. A biblical investing lesson. Money Reverse is not only my brand, it is my promise. I am going to give you a biblical view of money investing, whatever topic that I'm teaching on. That is just a core value of Money Reverse. So today's lesson is no different. A biblical investing lesson. This lesson is let him lead you to that place of peace. This comes from Psalms chapter 23, verses 1 and 2. And the scripture reads, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pasture. He leads me beside the still waters." Amen. Now, this lesson, it actually is a video. What you're looking at on the screen is the look of a video, and it actually is. This video is one of those things in Money Reverse University. It's not a long lesson, just a 2-minute lesson, I think. And it is really about looking at what this scripture says and applying it to your investing, to let the Lord lead you. Let the Lord be your shepherd in your investing. You're not going to go without confidence. You're not going to want for anything. He's going to lead you to that place of peace. If you are an investor and you have stepped away for a little bit, or if you're brand new to investing, just know that sometimes there will be what I call trading anxiety. We all go through it. It's where we just start to question everything in our minds over and over again before you make a trade. And sometimes it'll stop you from even making those trades and getting in those things after you've done all the homework. So that's a little bit of trading anxiety. That's the whole reason that I have this. I want you to grow not only in your stock knowledge, but also in your spiritual growth as well. And so that we can align in our finances to the things that we're called to do as instructed in the Christian Holy Bible. Again, so this lesson, let him lead you to that place of peace. Psalms chapter 23, verses 1 and 2. Be blessed, everybody. Now, as before I get into the disclaimer, I do want to pray over this gathering and every gathering that I do. Father God, we thank you, Lord. I thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for everybody that's watching here, whether they're live or on the replay. We just give you all glory, Lord. We lift you up. We recognize you as being Lord and King over everything. And Lord, I pray financial abundance for everybody that is gathered here. Lord, I thank you for opening up our minds and our eyes so that we can see things from a stock market perspective like never before. Lord, we ask for wisdom. Your word says, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask. Lord, on behalf of everybody here, I ask for wisdom in stock market trading, stock market knowledge, and stock market intelligence and in confidence. Lord, we need you. We need your wisdom. And I thank you for the progression journey that you're taking each of us on in our finances. In your son, Jesus' name, I pray. And we thank you again. Amen. The information provided here today is for educational purposes only. Any market information that I share is purely commentary and should not be construed as investment advice, nor should the information be construed as a solicitation to buy or sell any securities of any kind. Well, let's just jump right into the oil dance. Now, the oil dance, if you were here, yeah, I see some of you that are here. Is there anybody here that was not here for day one of the oil dance? We're talking about oil, and I did a big dissertation on supply and demand and prices. So if you were not here, just put in the comments, not here, was not here, wasn't here. Because I'm going to do just a quick review today, and I'm going to assume that you were here for that. If not, those lessons are available to you here where you're watching right now and in Money Reverse University in the Stock Savvy class area. So let's just do a review. We did a 1-year look at crude prices. The one thing let me just remind you what we're talking about when I said the oil dance. What we're talking about is crude oil and the oil that we use around the world. As I said, no matter what I do in the market at any time, I always have a side eye on oil. I need to always know what oil is doing. I'm doing what I'm doing, but I'm always looking to see what's going on with oil. Why? Because it affects everything. Oil has such a wide spread reach across our economy and our financial markets that I always want to keep an eye on oil. And one thing that I said in yesterday's session is that I believe that we're going to see oil go to over $100 a barrel very soon. As of yesterday, let's take a look at crude oil prices. And so everybody said, wait a minute, why? Well, look at where we are now. As of yesterday, it was $86.11. The top day here on this chart, 1023, it was 86.11. Take a look at oil prices down through the last 12 months. When I look today, just now, right before I came on board with you here, it's at $83.78. And we're talking about WTI crude, $83.78. Let me just look one more place. Take a look at the chart here, and you can see where oil is going for where it has gone for the entire year. You can see here at this chart in the center of the page, the 12-month high close was $93.68. And that was September 27th. And if you look starting at the bottom of this chart on the right, where it starts at 11/30/2022, $80.55. You can kind of see where we've been going all through the summer months. As usual, you're going to see oil prices that are down a little bit, but look what started happening at the end of June to July. We went from $70.64 to $81. It was an $11 jump in oil. $11 jump, and it's been going up and up and up ever since. We've just had a little bit of a pullback. So what I wanted to let you know is I want you to keep a side eye on oil, because I think that oil is going to go higher. And why do I think it's going to go higher? Because we talked about supply and demand yesterday. We talked about supply and demand. It's when we talked about the sweet potato pies. We talked about the bazaar and the sweet potato pies. And with the bazaar and the sweet potato pies, if you have a whole lot of sweet potato pies at your bazaar, you can't charge a whole lot for it. Nobody's going to come and pay premium prices when they see 400 sweet potato pies lined up. If they look around the corner, if they see 12 apple pies on that table, they're going to bum rush the 12 apple pies and see if I can get one. I'll take 3. Give me 3, hollering from the back of the line. It's because when the supply is low and the demand is high, then you can charge a higher price. And when the supply is low, sometimes that will drive up demand. Keep that in mind. Sometimes when supply is low, that will drive up demand. It'll make people want it more. It'll make it more valuable. You have to raise the prices when the demand is high, when you have a low supply. So with that, that's just business 101. So let's talk about this supply and demand when it comes to oil. I want to show you right here. Let's first talk about supply. When we look at where our oil comes from, crude, and we're talking about crude, remember, this is the raw natural resource that comes from the ground. When we look at where it comes from, I'm just talking about the US, I'm saying the crude that is used all around the world, it comes from these 5 places. The number 1 producer of crude is the US. We produce 14.7% of raw natural oil. This number 2 is Saudi Arabia. Now, if the U.S. being a number 1 producer of oil is a shocker to you, can you just say I'm surprised, or put something in the comments that says I'm surprised, like the little wow symbol, the little person doing this, just let me know. And this is a success. We had on our list to get out of this back in the 70s when oil prices were really high, over $100 a barrel, up to $130 a barrel. The U.S. made a pact to say, we're not going to be here again. We're not going to be here again. We started doing things to have refineries here, to start drilling, and to start doing things to produce our own oil. We started producing shale oil, which comes from shale rocks. And guess who knows what the top 5 state, let's just say not the top 5 state, the number 1 state for oil production in the U.S. is. If you know the number 1 state, or want to take a guess, what is the number 1 state in the U.S. that is the top producer of oil to make us number 1? So the U.S. produces 14.7% of our world's oil supply. The U.S. produces just this much. Now, with that, number 2 is Saudi Arabia. This is not unheard of. Saudi Arabia used to be number 1. You can bet they are. They used to be number 1. We have pushed to move ahead of Saudi Arabia, and we did. And we moved to this spot in 2018. This isn't a new something. This is something that we did in 2018. So with that, Saudi Arabia is now number 2, 13.2%. The number 3 producer of oil is Russia. 12.7% of our world oil supply comes from Russia. Number 4 is Canada, 5.6%, and number 5 is Iraq. Take a look here. There is a huge jump between number 3 and number 4. We go from double digits from 12.7% from Russia to 5.6% for Canada. That's a huge drop. So you can see where the biggest oil producers are in the world. Now, all of this gets us 51.7% of our world oil. The other, 49 or so percent, it comes from several other places that's less than 5%. So with that, I do want you to know where our oil is coming from. Remember, we're going to talk about supply and demand. Oh yeah, all you people, look at, everybody knows. Christy said Texas. Jonathan said Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma is definitely one of them. Yeah. Yvonne. Hey, Yvonne. Texas. You're right. Yes, ma'am, Marcine. Yep. Miss Jackie. Show is. Y'all right. Y'all right. Show enough. Show enough. Y'all right. Texas. Now, I'm in Texas right now. So we have lots of oil stuff here, a lot down in Houston area, lots of fracking here. Oh, my goodness. We used to hear booms all the time. Oh my goodness, you could just hear blowing up the rocks to get the oil out. I heard that for years where I was working. It was very close to where I was working when I was working in corporate. So just want to let you know, this is where, when we start talking about supply and demand, this is where the supply comes from. Go back to, this is who is bringing sweet potato pies to the party. Who's bringing sweet potato pies to the bazaar? These 5 people are bringing the most sweet potato pies to the bazaar. So this is where the supply comes from. Now, what happens? Well, again, what is a big determination of the price of a barrel of oil? It is about supply and demand. So where it's coming from are these individuals, these individual countries. Now, if we have any type of an interruption in supply in these areas or close to these areas, that's going to be a big hit on our oil supply. We have had two of these to notably say we are pulling back in our oil production. And the 2 that have announced earlier in the year that they are pulling back on oil production are Saudi Arabia and Russia. Now, Russia, for obvious reason, Russia is in war. Russia attacked Ukraine. We still have that unrest going on in Eastern Europe. And there's a lot of oil from other countries that were flowing through Russian pipelines. And so when we start to say, Russia, if you don't play well, we're not going to do business with you. We're not going to do commerce with you. We're not going to let oil flow through your pipes. This is exactly what we said. And so that cut off right immediately, bam, 12.7% of our oil supply. And this was back when the unrest began in 2022. So what we did here in the US, we have the strategic oil reserves, the SP, Strategic Petroleum Reserves, it's SPR. So that is this huge supply of extra oil, because we just all extra in the US. Can you just say extra? Can somebody just put extra in the comments? We all extra. We said we're gonna be the top oil producer, and we got stuff sitting on the side. So we called that our SPR, Strategic Petroleum Reserves. So what President Biden did when this unrest in Eastern Europe broke out last year, he released money. He released oil from our strategic petroleum reserves so that oil would be available to the rest of the world, because 12.7% of our supply was cut off when Russia started attacking the Ukraine, because we just said, we don't want nothing from you. We don't want nothing from you, Russia. That's what we said. So with that, and then Saudi has also pull back on their oil supply. So with that, what happens when supply is low? If supply is low and demand is high, then the price is going to go up. Now, let me go a little bit further before I get ahead of myself. I get so excited. So just so you know, and all of this, where did I get this from? It's from the Energy Information Administration, the EIA. You can go to that site, eia.gov. Lots of great information there. I visit there all the time. I keep a side eye on oil, side eye. Okay. Now, let me just tell you a few things that happen with 2023 projections that were made in 2022 based on what we knew back then. And this all came from the EIA. So one thing that was expected is that the demand for crude was going to grow by 2.2 million barrels a day. The MBD is million barrels a day in 2023. We expected that in 2023, we were going to have a bigger demand for oil, and that would take us to 101.1 million barrels a day. That has happened. Now, this was going to be led by Chinese consumption, jet fuel, etc. Remember, in 2022, in Asia, when they had COVID outbreaks in Asia, they truly shut down. People could not leave their homes. People did not go to work. Factories did not go. They were truly shut down. Where here in the U.S., we kind of had some, we took COVID mandates as suggestions. A lot of people still went to work. They still wanted to go to concerts and everything else. So, but in Europe and in China, it didn't work out like that. They really stayed home. And with that, we had so much oil because there was no demand. Number one, China was not doing any of the production and infrastructure development that they were doing. All of the things that they're building over in China, all of that shut down for about a year and a half. So knowing that they were going to come back online, and they have, that is where we were going to see in 2023 the demand for oil increase. And surely enough, it did. Again, all the planes weren't flying all over the world because of COVID shutdown in 2022. So again, once people got back to flying and traveling and world got back to where it was, then surely enough, there was a higher demand for jet fuel. Everybody started taking trips. I started taking trips. I had not been on a plane in 3 years. I went on my first plane ride last November, late 2022. And I had not been on a plane since 2019, 2020. Last trip I took was to Germany, and I no strapping in for me. Okay, so now the one other projection that I want you to be aware of is global markets are on a verge of a 1.2 million barrels a day shortage in the second half of 2023. This is what was projected in 2022. So with that, how do people know that? There's people that kind of watch that and they make those projections. But more importantly, I want to tell you, even if it's not true, even if they're wrong, it's my belief that some people are going to make it so. We're going to speak it into existence, if that makes sense. Meaning, if there's an expectation that there's going to be a shortage in oil, and it turns out that there is no shortage, if you were one of these oil producing nations, it would be to your advantage to say, we're going to cut production. We're not going to put as much oil out there as we originally said we were. Yeah, that's what we'll do. And so when they do that, guess what's going to happen to the price of a barrel of oil? Because the demand is going to be lower. Look at what I have in red. Production cuts have been announced by OPEC, Saudi, and Russia. When OPEC meets about once every 6 weeks or so with their normal production meeting. They have other meetings, but they have meetings in which they come out. Remember when we had the sweet potato pie at the bazaar, and I said we had to go behind the curtain and say how many pies are we going to put out here and what price we're going to sell these pies? If you were here for that session, when I talked about that in our day one session, just put pies in the comment. I want to see who was here. Remember when I said we had so many sweet potato pies out there to sell in this bazaar, at this bazaar? This is an example that I used. And I said we had to go behind the curtain and sit down and talk about, number one, who's bringing pie to the bazaar? How many are you bringing? And what price are we going to sell these pies? We went behind the curtain, figured that out, and then we came out and announced and put our sign up to tell the world, this is how many pies we have, and this is our price. And it's that same price for every pie that you see. Yeah, I see pies in the comments. So yeah, when you heard that, yeah. So with that, OPEC does that same thing. They do that once about every 6 or 8 weeks, and they go back behind the curtain. They go into an OPEC meeting, and I look at the minutes from these meetings. Guys, if you haven't figured it out, I'm pretty much a geek about this stuff. I'm pretty much a geek. It's okay. It is what it is. You pretend to be what you're not, right? So with that, OPEC has these meetings, and they come out of these meetings and they come and tell us how much oil they're going to make available to the rest of the world. And that's with OPEC. I didn't share the OPEC map here today, but we did it in day 2. OPEC has announced that they are cutting production in the last meeting. This was just a few weeks ago. So with that, we have oil inventories that are reported about once every couple of weeks so that we can see where things are. But why would they cut production? In my opinion, it's because they want the prices to go up. Think about it. When we bring pies to the bazaar to sell, the money that you make is your own. We get to take that money home for our families. So do these OPEC nations. When Qatar, when Nigeria, Liberia, Saudi, Iraq, Iran, when they bring oil to the world, when that oil is bought, those countries take that money back to their homeland. So of course they want the price to be very high. There's no ministry going on here. These people, we're here to make money. Everybody's here to make money. I'm not mad at them because remember, I already told y'all I'm here to make money. I'm not here to do ministry when it comes to stock market. I'm going to tell you what the word says, but when it comes to market and my market actions, my whole goal is to make money. So I'm not mad at nobody making money. If you ain't mad at nobody trying to make money, just put in the comments, make money. That means that you're here to make money too. So I'm not mad. They want the price of a barrel of oil to be high. So when they cut production back, the end result of that is the price of a barrel of oil is going to go up. That's just what's going to happen. So let's take a look at what's in the red again. Production cuts announced by OPEC, Saudi, and Russia. So with that, what we have been seeing since September, well, actually, it started in July. What we have been seeing is the price of a barrel of oil going up. I'm going to pop back one more time. Oh, there is the OPEC. There's the OPEC chart. I don't remember talking about it. I wonder if I skipped by it. Okay, so here we go. Take a look here in July. In June, we went from $70 all the way to $81, $83, $90, $86, and so forth, so on. Carolyn Williams, in my infinite knowledge, I think we're going to see oil go over $100 a barrel. I think we're going to see it, and it's not unheard of. It's not unheard of. We've been there before. We've been there before many times. That's not anything new. But all I'm saying, the reason that I think that is relevant right now because of where it is right now, because I've just seen somebody said that they want to make money. So I'm assuming that somebody wants to make money. So I'm going to tell you, take a look at some oil stocks. We're going to do just that. The other thing that happens, this is the OPEC nations. I think I skipped by it. These are the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. These are the countries that make oil available to the world. Okay. So with that, what we're going to talk about in our next session, which is our day 3, is if I want to make money, what oil stocks should I consider? I want to talk to you about the different type of oil stocks. And based on the fact that the price of a barrel of oil is going up, what kind of stocks? All oil stocks are not the same. They're all not the same. I'm going to talk to you about different types of oil stocks and those that you can consider if you want to make money in oil. All I'm trying to do is just tell you this early because of where we are right now. And I do this every October. And I'm going, another thing that makes the price of a barrel of oil go up is it's just cyclical as we get into winter time, just heating oil, because you got diesel, you got heating oil, you got all types of petroleum. So just across the world, we're going to use more energy just to heat our homes and to heat stores and malls and restaurants and all of that. So it's just cyclical that you're going to see more consumption happen at this time of year as well. So it's not like I have this crystal ball. It's just looking at what's going on in the world and just putting two and two together and using your common sense. Nothing I told you here is anything that you couldn't have figured out. Meaning there's no secret sauce here. What I want to teach all of my students is how to listen to the news and how to look at what's going on and how to equate that to the market. That is your why. Why are you doing this? Why are we considering this? We're not going to look at stocks and get a dart and just try to toss it and hope we're hitting the right thing. There's information out there. We just got to know how to get it, take it through that sieve, sift it through, and keep the good stuff and use that to fuel what you do. Okay? If this makes sense, just put in the comment, it makes sense. Now, just to let you know, my full program in which I teach you soup to nuts, everything. This is just a snippet of my full program. My full program classes is going to begin in November. It's my last full program teaching that's going to be for 2023. So in our day 4 session, I am going to open the card so you can enroll for my full program. It's called 21 Days to Stock Market Investing. It is in this program that you're going to get everything that you need. If you've never looked at stock market before, I'm going to teach you everything you need to make money in 21 days. Now, in 8 days, you're going to make your first trade in a virtual environment with me. I'm going to walk through with some virtual trades for you, but it's going to be your introduction to get in and start to take this information and use it to help you make money in the market. So just a preview of coming attractions. You want to be here for day 4. I'm going to tell you all about the program, and I'm going to open enrollment so that you can get ready for a class that begins on November 13th. Okay. Now it's time for stock talk. We're going to learn a little bit about stocks now. We've been talking about oil. Let's learn about stocks. Here is this same scenario. A friend comes up to you and they give you a stock tip. And they say, oh, I want to tell you about this stock. This is a good one. I've been looking at it. I've been hearing about it. And this is a good one. I know that you invest in stocks. So I want to make sure I tell you something. I haven't bought none yet. But I'm just telling everybody. I want to make sure I tell you. So you just got to get in this one now. It's a good one. So what do you do with that information? First thing you do is say, thanks, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, I do look at stocks. Thank you for that information. So there's a couple of things that I want you to do. I want you to ask and answer the questions. The stock that my friend told me about, is this stock interesting? And the stock that my friend told me about, is this stock rewarding? I don't want you to ask your friend. I want you to ask yourself. You just tell your friend, thank you. Thank you. Don't put your friend on the spot. Just say, don't ask your friends that. No, just ask this of yourself. And I'm going to tell you right here today how you're going to answer those questions. So you don't get information from a friend and you just go buy it and not even know why you're buying it. You don't have your why. You got to have your why. Why are you buying this? So you got to have your why. So with that, is this stock interesting and is this stock rewarding? Let me show you how to determine that. Interesting and rewarding stocks. The way we tell if a stock is interesting is that we look at volume. Volume is the total number of stock shares that are being traded today. The total number of stock shares that are being traded today. Now, traded means, are they buying or selling? Yeah, that's the answer. Buying or selling. It doesn't matter. Because if nobody's buying and selling a stock, it's not interesting. And in an uninteresting stock, the price is not going to move. What makes a stock price move is that when people buy the stock, they're putting more money in the company, making their market cap go up. And you take market cap divided by the number of outstanding shares, and that is stock price. So every time you buy a stock, you're adding to that company's market cap. So if it's a stock that nobody's buying, that stock price is not going to move. It's going to be very difficult to move that stock if nobody's buying or selling. Now, if they're selling, you're taking market cap away and you'll see the stock price go down. Now, what happens in most cases is there's just an equal amount of buying and selling. So you see it, are they buying or selling? Yeah, all that's happening. And that's why you see stock prices jump up and down because buying and selling is just happening, by the hundreds of thousands every second. So if it's an interesting stock, one that nobody's interested in is going to sit still. So volume is how many shares are being traded today. The average volume is the average number of stock shares that's been traded over a period of 30 days. So this now 30 days is 30 trading days. The markets are open Monday through Friday, with the exception of banking holidays. So when we say 30 days, that's 30 trading days. So 30 trading days is an elapsed time of 6 weeks. So we can see over the last 6 weeks of time, this is the average number of shares that's been traded of this particular stock. Now, volume tells us how many shares are being traded today. This is how we tell if it's interesting. Now, the money reverse observation over the years of trading, what I have noticed at any time that I see the average volume of a stock less than 1 million, I consider that an uninteresting stock. Uninteresting stocks are more likely to have very minimal, if any, price movement. That doesn't mean that you don't want to buy it. You may want to buy it for a different reason. And I'll talk about that a little bit later here. But just as an observation, the way Money Reverse looks at it, if the average volume is less than 1 million, I consider that an uninteresting stock. And it's one that I've got to have another reason to buy it. And that reason is not that. The reason that I'm not, the reason what's not a reason for buying it is that it's interesting and other people are buying it too. So, because, the crowd helps. Again, that's what moves the stock price. Let me show you an example of this. Take a look here. We have ExxonMobil Corporation. This is the same example that we used in our day one session. You don't have to go and count up how many shares are traded. You just go pull up the stock quote and you will see volume and average volume somewhere in the quote. And I have them circled here. Volume is the top one in the circle. And we can see that volume, the shares traded today, is 15.2 million. And then average volume, the average shares traded over 30 days is 17 million. So with that, you can kind of see this is greater than 1 million, definitely 15.2 million and 17 million on average. So this is definitely an interesting stock. I don't have to worry about this being one that's in somebody's garage and nobody's interested in it. And my friend is telling me something about this company and nobody else is buying this company. No, people are buying and selling this stock. And again, a couple of other things. The other thing that I have circled is the ExxonMobil Corporation name and stock price. This is as of yesterday, our day one session. I did not pull a fresh quote. So it was $109.43. So with that, this is how we tell if it is an interesting stock. So that's one question I want you to ask yourself. Is it interesting? Now, let's take a look at a rewarding stock. A rewarding stock. What a reward is a prize that's given for achieving something. So what a reward is a prize that's given for achieving something. Now, with a rewarding stock, who knows what the reward is? The reward for a stock, how does somebody reward you for holding a stock? Is they got to give you money. Money. I hate to say we're money hungry, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm not, again, yeah. If you're going to reward me with the stock, I want to see some money. Show me the money. So there are companies that will pay you just for holding on to their stock. And they do that in the form of dividends. They reward you. So what they say is, if you buy my stock and hold it for this period of time, if you hold my stock by this day, on this other day in the future, I'm just going to give you money. I'm just going to drop money like cash into your brokerage account. And I'm going to pay you for every share that you own. So if you have a lot of shares, you get a lot of rewards. And so this is called a dividend declaration. But first, a dividend is a quarterly cash payment made to shareholders of a particular company stock. The payout amounts and dates are decided by the company and their board of directors. Now, the reason that they do this is they just want you to hold on to their stock. They don't want you to sell their stock. The dividend yield. Now, because they're going to pay you, you don't know how much of a return you're getting. This is that payment expressed in a percentage form to tell you how much of a return you got on your money. So the yield is the annual percentage of the dividend payout by that company. They calculate it by using the current stock price as a base and saying it paid you how much and it's what percent of that stock price. So basically, companies will reward you just for holding on to their stock. It's called a dividend. What happens if the stock price goes up? Then you make money on the stock price going up too. What happens if the stock price goes down? Then your stock is in the red, but they're still going to, once they declare that dividend, they're still going to pay this dividend. It is not dependent on the price of the stock, whether you get the dividend payment or not. What determines if you get the dividend payment is if the company declares it. They have to declare it, and it typically is a quarterly cash payment. They do this. Companies that pay a dividend on a regular basis typically pay on a quarterly basis. Okay? Does that sound good to anybody? If that sounds good, somebody put in the comment, that sounds good. That sounds good. So with that, this is how they reward you. Now, paying a dividend is not a rule. It's not a law. Some companies do, some companies don't. Don't think that just because a company does not pay a dividend that it's not necessarily a good stock. There's some companies that just don't pay a dividend because they don't pay a dividend. That sounded like I was about to curse, didn't it? Some companies don't pay a dividend, and a lot of growth companies don't. They think, okay, well, I'm not going to pay a dividend every quarter because I don't have to. I know that if you buy my stock, I'm going to do some stuff to make my stock price go up that you're not going to even care that you don't get a dividend because my stock price is going to go up so much. Guys, I could tell you a stock whose whose price went up $60 today. Some companies just got it going on like that. Some companies, my traders, I have a group of folks that I trade with on a daily basis. Actually, I trade with them 3 days a week. And we're in Quick Money Group. We make money in the market every week. So we know about these companies that are going up $60 a day. Now, neither of us were in it. This is one we have been trading, but since it's been trading down so much, we kind of left it alone. And today, boom, that one stock went up $60. I woke up and, one of my traders said it's up $43 already. I went, oh man, I could have got in it when it was up 43, but no, I didn't. I was sleepy. I was up late working because I was up teaching you out last night. So with that, let's get back to dividends. Let me show you what this looks like. How do you know if a company pays a dividend? Let's go back and let's look at this same example of ExxonMobil, the exact same quote we just saw on the other screen. You can see the dividend when you pull a stock quote. All of this information about the stock, it's called a quote. So when you pull the stock quote, I have the dividend information circled. This, if you can read around all my red lines, it says forward, dividend, and yield. So forward dividend, we can see $3.64. ExxonMobil does pay a dividend. Every company doesn't. ExxonMobil does pay a dividend, $3.64. And that $3.64, when it's expressed as a percent, this is a 3.28% return on your money. This is a 3.28% return on your money. This dividend is an annual amount, $3.64 for the year. So if you divide that by 4, that tells you how much they would pay every quarter. And I'm pretty sure they do pay on a quarterly basis. So that 364, let's divide that by 4. So that's 91 cents. 91 cents a quarter for every share that you have. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. Yeah. Not bad at all. Yeah. Got me thinking. Okay. Now, so this is how you can tell. It's called forward dividend and yield. I'm looking here. This quote is from finance.yahoo.com. And so you can look at it on any particular stock research, but look for the dividend. And if it doesn't pay a dividend, it'll have 0 or it'll have NA. And again, it doesn't mean it's a bad company because they don't pay a dividend. It's just it's a rewarding stock. That's an extra bonus. Okay. Now, let me tell you one more, the ex-dividend date. The ex-dividend date. The ex-dividend date is the first day that the stock trades in which it will not pay the dividend. It's the first day that the stock trades, and if you get in it on this day or afterwards, you do not get a dividend. This is how I want you to remember this. I got to demonstrate. Ex-dividend means no dividend. Ex-dividend means no dividend. Everybody say ex-dividend means no dividend. Type it in the comments. When you type it in the comments, you're going to remember it. You're going to remember me doing this. Ex-dividend means no dividend. Ex-dividend means no dividend. And it's called the ex-dividend date. So that's how you're going to know. Ex means no dividend. If the ex-dividend date is today, there's no dividend paid right now. You've missed it. Okay. So what you want is the ex-dividend date to be a day in the future. If it's a day in the future, then you are available. Here we are. The ex-dividend dates are in the future. It indicates that you are entitled to the announced dividend on a per share basis. So ex-dividend means no dividend. Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan. Ex-dividend means no dividend. So if the ex-dividend date is today, nope, no dividend. So let's take a look. So the ex-dividend date is very important. Let's look at this same quote again. Right here, this is ExxonMobil again. See where we have the forward dividend and yield right below it is ex-dividend date. So that day, August 15, 2023. August 15, 2023. Now, because they pay quarterly, you can kind of jump ahead and say in 3 months, September, October, November. I'll bet you their next ex-dividend date is around November 15th. And ExxonMobil releases their earnings on Friday. They probably are going to do the declaration on Friday. If you think you want to get an ExxonMobil, I'd get in it before Friday. Because when they announce the dividend, what do you think is going to happen when they announce the dividend? What do you think is going to happen when they say, hey, everybody, if you hold my stock between now and November 15th, I'm going to pay you 91 cents a share for every share that you own. So what do you think is going to happen when people hear that? Woo, I'm going to get some of that. They're going to start buying the stock. And what happens when they buy the stock? The price goes up. Make sense? So with that, ex-dividend means no dividend as long, and this date is a past date, which means it's not paying a dividend right now, but they have a history of paying a dividend. And if they pay one, they can choose to not declare. They can choose to do that. Some companies have it as a part of their bragging rights that we have paid a dividend for the last 15 years and we take our dividend up every year. ExxonMobil's one of those. They cut the dividends way back when we had like 2008 when we had the financial crisis. But since then, I mean, they're paying dividends now. So thank you. Ex-dividend means no dividend. Thank you, Yvonne. Ex-dividend means no dividend. So you guys know it now. You're never going to forget it. When you see that date, if it is today, that means there's no dividend as of August 15th for them. When they declare it again, this ex-dividend date will be updated to be a day in the future, probably around November 15th, because that's 3 months after they paid the last dividend. So that's how we see a rewarding stock. So interesting and rewarding stocks. This is what I want you to ask yourself when your friend gives you a stock quote, a stock tip. Just pull over with your phone, get on your computer, and you look it up yourself. Don't put your friend on the spot. Just say, thank you. That's good information. I'm going to do some research on that. I'm going to look at that. You just say, I want to look at that. Okay. And then you go look at it. Now, I've had, I'm going to tell you, I had somebody do that to me once. Somebody came up and told me, Carolyn, I know you trade stocks. I got something that's just good, girl. You gotta get in this one and take a look at it and let me know what you think. And so they did. I kind of pulled out my phone and we went on. I was at a conference or something and, we went on and I was looking at it. I went, that's a piece of junk right there. Okay. So I don't tell my friend nothing. So then my friend came back and said, did you look at it? Did you look at it? I'm like, don't ask me because y'all know I'm just going to be real. I'm just going to be real. I'm thinking, I say, yeah. It's really not for me. And then they start pushing. Why? I think I say, have you bought any? Not yet. Not yet. Okay. What? I started naming off 5 or 8 things, and they were like, okay, and they walked away. I'm like, don't ask me. Don't ask me if you don't want to know. Yeah, I'm just gonna be real with you, okay? So that happened to me once, and I went, no, I'm not buying that junk. I started saying, don't you buy it either. Somebody just trying to fake Jake you. Don't be buying that. That's not how you make money. Because we're just trying to do I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to do nothing. I'm just trying to what? Sherelle, no. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now that's the end of our lesson. Let me demonstrate how you can look at it, because everything I showed you here, I had it all clipped out and I had put it on the screen for you. But if you're on your computer and want to look at some stocks that are not the examples I have, I'm going to show you how to do it. What I'm using for Stock Savvy sessions is Yahoo Finance, www.finance.yahoo.com. You can go there on your computer and you can go there on your phone. You can download the Yahoo Finance app. I'm not supported or endorsed by Yahoo Finance. It's just a good free tool for looking up stocks. So I don't get paid if you use it. They don't know nothing about me doing this, but this is just one of the tools that I use. And so with that, and the main thing is I just don't think that you have to pay money to research stocks. There's free sites that have lots of good information out there, and Yahoo Finance is one of them. So here, what you do when you go into Yahoo Finance and you look at the front page, at the top bar, they have a search bar at the top. And suppose we want to look at Hess Corporation, HESS, and you don't know the symbol for Hess Corporation. What you do is you go right up here in this search bar and you start typing the full company name, HESS space CORP. When you do HESS space, you're going to start to see drop down of different things that you can choose, and you're going to see Hess Corporation, and you're going to choose it, and this is what you're going to see. You're going to see this quote for Hess Corporation. Now, everybody, remember yesterday I shared about Hess Corporation, and I asked if anybody knew what had happened with Hess Corporation that day. Does anybody know? Does anybody remember what happened with Hess Corporation yesterday during our day one? And then I'm going to tell you that there's something that's happening with Hess Corporation tomorrow, which is our day 3. So if you know what happened with Hess Corporation during our day 1 session, let me know. Put it in the comments. I want you to know. All the examples that I'm using, there's something unique to every example that I'm using. Yeah, Christy knows. Here we go. Chevron announced that they're purchasing Hess Corporation. Chevron made an announcement that we're buying up Hess Corporation. And we're going to talk in our thank you, Christy. We're going to talk in our session tomorrow about the different types of oil companies. And we're going to talk about why do we think Chevron wanted to buy Hess Corporation? And you've heard of Chevron, but you've never heard of Hess, probably. Probably most of you have not heard of Hess. And I'm going to talk about different oil companies because there's so many great companies out there, but I don't want you to only consider the ones that you see when you drive down the street, because there's so many great oil companies out there that you can use to make money, but you may not see their names when you drive down the street. They may be services, they may be rig companies, they may be exploration companies, they may be drillers, transport. We're going to go through all of that in our day 3 session. Yeah. There was an announcement made that Hess Corporation is going to be bought by Chevron. Yep, Marcine, you're right. That news came out yesterday. The deal hasn't closed. It's going to close in 2024 in the next 3 or 4 months. So we'll see if it goes through. But they made that announcement yesterday. Something that's happening with Hess Corporation tomorrow. Can anybody tell me what's happening with Hess Corporation tomorrow? They made the stage. Hess Corporation makes the stage in Stock Savvy session because they just happen to have all this going on the week that we have Stock Savvy. And I want to tell you again how you can take information of what's going on in the news and equate that to making money. When you have that and you have that wisdom, like I prayed for wisdom, there's no stopping you. You don't need to have anybody by your side to make money in the market. I want to teach you and send you out. I want to teach you and send you out, just like we do discipleship. You know, I'm not trying to get no umbilical cord where you have to be tied to me all the time. Yep, Jackie got this right. Sure is. Thank you, Jackie. Tomorrow, Hess Corporation announces their quarterly earnings. And I am going to show you right here, earnings date, right above where the dividend is. You can see right above that. Look at the earnings date. And that is October 25th, 2023. And at the time of this recording, that is tomorrow. And Hess reports their earnings. Let me see. They do it before market open. So before 8:30 Central Time tomorrow, they're going to have their earnings release out. There's one thing that happens that is guaranteed to happen when a company releases their earnings. And that one thing is that the stock price is going to move. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And Stock Savvy session that I did back in April, we did all about earnings season. We talked about earnings season. I know Jackie took that course. She took it inside Money Reverse University. She wasn't here live, but she took it then. So Jackie, good job, Jackie. Hey, I'm so excited. I love it when you guys learn stuff and when I teach stuff and people learn it. Oh yeah, I get so excited. You know, that's what a teacher loves, to have people learn from them. So with that, take a look here. We pulled up Hess Corporation and we can see all of the pertinent information that we went over today is circled for Hess Corporation. This is the same quote that was used yesterday, so it's not updated with today's prices. This was pulled as of close of business on Monday, October 23rd, which was our day one session. When you see a star in the upper right-hand corner, that tells you, excuse me, sneeze. When you see a star in the upper right-hand corner, that tells you that this example is a downloadable resource. In Money Reverse University, I'm going to give you the link in just a second. You can download this, go out there, and all of this is downloadable so that you can have it and use it as reference material to have into holes. So with that, anytime you see a red star in the upper right-hand corner, know that this is a downloadable resource for you. So you can see Hess with the volume and average volume. Take a look at the volume on Monday. This was as of Monday. Look at the difference in the volume. The volume on Monday was 11 million, just that one day, where the average volume was 1.7 million. So you can tell when they made that announcement they were going to get bought out. You can tell that stock was very interesting on that day. 11 million shares were traded on that one single day after that announcement that they were going to get bought out. One time we'll talk about when we do a Stock Savvy session, I'll talk about mergers and acquisitions and tell you what happens when a company makes an announcement like that. There's several things that happen, and one thing that you're looking at is right here with the company being bought, then everybody starts buying them. And I could explain all the details as to why that happens. So here is the dividend yield. Take a look here at Hess. Does Hess pay a dividend? When I look at forward dividend and yield, I do see, yes, $1.75, an annual amount. That is 1.07%. The ex-dividend date, September 15, 2023. This date at the time of this recording is a date in the past. So if you bought Hess today, you're not guaranteed, you're not looking for a dividend payment right now. Now, if you bought Hess today, and they make another dividend announcement 3 months from September 15th, December 15th, they probably will declare another dividend. If you already have it, then you get that dividend when they do declare it. Because then when they declare, they just say, as long as you have it by this date, as long as you have it, you can just hold it forever and just keep getting dividend payments every quarter. You don't have to sell it and buy it again to get a second and third dividend payment. Okay, so this is Hess Corporation. Let's look at another example. Suppose we wanted to look at the example Dynex Capital. We don't know the symbol, so we go and type in the full name in the search bar at the top, and this is what we come up with. Dynex Capital, same quote from 1023, red star in the upper right-hand corner. You can download this as a resource. Take a look at Dynex Capital as of 1023. Take a look. Interesting that this one, there's several things that you see here. We're not teaching it in this session, but look at earnings date on Dynex Capital. 1023, ding, ding, ding. That's the same day that we pull the quote. I told you, you guys are going to know me pretty soon. When I use these examples, there's a reason that I picked these particular examples for you. So that was the day that they released their earnings. Dynex Capital did. Take a look at their volume, 2.3 million, where their average volume was 945,000. So with that, take a look at that. Now, does Dynex Capital pay a dividend? Yes, they do. As a matter of fact, they will pay you $1.56 a year. Divide that out. They'll pay you on a, suppose it's a quarterly basis, they'll pay you every quarter, but for every share that you get, you will get $1.56 in cash just dropped into your brokerage account. Not in stock price. You go look at your cash and you will see that there is just a deposit for dividend for Dynex Capital. Now, when you say $1.56 and the stock costs $10, that's a pretty good return, 14.62%. Did y'all see that? 14.62%. And the stock price is at $10. So again, $1.56, what percent of $10.30 is that? 14.62%. How much money do you make leaving your money in a savings account? Less than 1%. You can get into a CD and it'll pay you 5 or 6%. Interest rates are going up, but they're not going up to 14.62%. Does that make sense? 14.62%. That's a very nice dividend yield. There's a reason that I showed you this, but there's more. One thing that has been happening over the last few years, there are some companies that say everybody's trying to pay a dividend and steal my dividend stockholders. So how do I make my stock more attractive for people that are buying it for the dividend? So what a lot of companies have started doing is instead of paying dividends quarterly, they pay dividends monthly. Meaning if you hold this stock this month, you get a dividend payment this month. That's pretty nice because think about it. If I get paid a dividend every quarter is nice, but that implies that I got to hold the stock for the entire quarter. What happens if I hold the stock for 2 months and then at the third month, I decide I want to sell it because I want to take that money and put it in something else? Do I get enough dividend to cover the 2 months that I held it? Nope. You just don't get anything. But when it's a monthly dividend, you get paid the same. You get paid every month. You hold the stock for 2 months, you get paid every month. Now, what they're doing is they're not paying you more of a dividend. They're just dividing it out. It's still $1.56, whether you get 12 equal payments or whether you get 2 equal payments. And in the U.S., we do 4 equal payments. In the U.S., it's kind of customary to pay quarterly. If you buy other stocks, European stocks, a lot of times they pay twice in the year. So each country has its own, what you call standard. It's not a rule and it's not a law. It's just kind of a standard. So the reason that I tell you this is that I want to share something else with you about Dynex Capital. It pays monthly. So Dynex Capital pays monthly. Look at the ex-dividend date. It's 25th. It is October 25th, which is at the time of this recording, too late. But what that means is if they pay monthly, November 25th, they will probably pay another dividend. And Dynex Capital is one of those companies that just has to pay a dividend by law, just by the way they're structured. I think I did dividend payments in another in another Stock Savvy session. But when you take my full program, you'll get all of these clues, tips, tricks, and all of these things. It's just pieces of information that when you have it, it helps you to use your money wisely. Dynex Capital pays a dividend every month. You're welcome. Okay, it is time for us to get some homework. If you want to do some homework, this is the time for you. Let me put our link here in the comments. I have put the link to Money Reverse University Stock Savvy sessions. It is in the comments now. To do the homework, you will need to register for Stock Savvy sessions in Money Reverse University. So with that, take a look there. Register for Stock Savvy. I'm asking for your name and your address, and name and email address. I'm sorry. And then that will serve as your ID and password to get in, your ID to get in, and you can do the homework. So with that, this is where you would get the biblical investing lesson video. This is also where you get the link to the homework and where you also get the reference materials that I said is downloads. You have to go to Money Reverse University and register for the course to get all of that. And all of this is free. I'm not asking you for one penny. This is just a service offering that I'm doing here on Money Reverse. And I'm broadcasting it on my personal timeline again for day 2. So with that, let me share with you what our homework is for today. Now, update what I want you to do. If you did your day 1 homework, I did see Jonathan do some homework. I saw a couple of other people that did some homework. Thank you. Thank you. If you have any questions or problems with the homework, let me know. So with that, I want you to go out to your day 1, go to the day 1 worksheet where you did your homework and just update the same stocks that you chose for our day 1. This time I want you to add to it volume, average volume, dividend, dividend yield, ex-dividend date, and earnings date. I don't think I put earnings date on there. So you see where earnings date is, but I don't think it's on the sheet to add it. So I may put it out there once I finish here. So with that, just go and update the same stocks that you chose and add these other things that we went through today. Now, to do this, I want you to use Yahoo Finance for your research, www.finance.yahoo.com. That is a free site. You don't even have to sign up and get an ID on there. Just go out there, do finance.yahoo.com and start using it. So now if you didn't do your day 1 homework, it's not too late. You can go to the homework assignment and do yesterday's and today's homework all at the same time. You'll find that this is not going to be difficult at all. So what I want you to do is to select 2 stocks that are unassigned from the list and fill out the information for those 2 stocks, and then add 1 more stock of your choice at the bottom of the list. Not only do I want you to do the stocks that I put on the homework sheet for you, but if you have some companies that you want to do research, let's just take this opportunity of going through this course and just research the stocks that's interesting to you too. So you can just add them to the bottom of the homework sheet. Here is what the homework sheet looks like. So it says Stock Savvy homework that's circled, and then the things that you're going to fill out are circled here in red. Volume, average volume, annual dividend, dividend yield percent, and ex-dividend date. I think I'll go out there and add the earnings date as well. So you can go ahead and put the earnings date because you see where it is on Yahoo Finance. It is right above where the dividend and ex-dividend is. So you can see the example there that my virtual assistant, Hetty Watkins, that also happens to be my big sister, she did the example here for ExxonMobil. So you can always look up there if you're not sure how it goes, and go back and watch the day 1. But you guys here are smart cookies. You're not going to have any issue with this at all. Okay, so the homework is out there and available for you to work on. Now, we have just completed, that's it for our day 2 session. Stock Savvy day 2, Tuesday, is completed. Now we will have our day 3 session. Day 3 of 4 will be tomorrow, same place that you're watching me right now. Come back. We're going to learn more about charting tomorrow. And we're also going to talk more about what oil stocks to consider. So with that, I want you to come back tomorrow. If you're going to make it back here tomorrow, say, I'll be here. And while you do that, you can also post any questions that you have in the comments. I'm ready to answer all of your questions. So let me know if you have any questions, and we will get to them right now. Anything that wasn't clear, or any questions that you had with the homework, or anything that I shared, or any questions at all, I'll answer any questions. Yeah, Christy says she's going to be here. Yay. Oh, yeah. I see several people say you're going to be here. All right. Good deal. Good deal. I'm looking forward to having you tomorrow. Yeah, I'm really interested to share with you. If you found that the oil information was enlightening and beneficial, let me know. Let me know. Oil, I want you to, if you are a stock watcher, I want you to watch oil on a regular basis. You don't have to watch it, just keep a side eye on it. I just want you to know what's going on. Okay? So with that, if no questions, I'm not seeing any questions. Yeah, I see several people say you're going to be here. Thank you so much. If you think that this is beneficial and you want to share this out on your timeline, you can share it out even if it's over. The whole video will post out there too. So, and if you're watching this on the replay and someone shared it out, just say, hey, I'm watching the replay. Put # replay out there. Let me know that you're watching on the replay. And if you have questions on watching on the replay, definitely post them here. I'm still watching. Even though you didn't join live, I'm still answering your questions. So I'm not seeing any questions. So I am going to say good night to everybody. Everybody be blessed. And I will see you here for Stock Savvy session day 3. 7 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, right where you're watching me right now. Be blessed, everybody, and see you at day 3.